Yes, indeed. Sounds of Twilighting and At the Forge. And Bill Bailey, Insect Nation. Very appropriate. Someone actually made a reasonably funny comment in chat, which is a rare occurrence. It's Insect Nation, which is quite apt because the patch is full of bugs. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I used to hold Blizzard in the sort of regard that I would say Blizzard can really do no wrong. Blizzard are generally speaking right on pretty much everything. It's their game, they can do what they like. But I've become a bit more cynical in my old age, to be honest. Yeah, the patch is full of bugs. What I will say is that while there is no excuse for bugs, you've also got to bear in mind that when you say it's the buggiest patch ever, you would be correct, but it's also the biggest patch ever, so of course it's the buggiest patch ever. I mean, it's not rocket science, is it, really? It's simple numbers, it's maths. If you have 100 features in a patch and the bug rate is, say, 5%, then you're going to have 5 bugs. If you have 1,000 features, you're going to have 50 bugs. Blah, 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 on and on and on it goes. Personally, I haven't actually seen any of these bugs yet. I haven't had a chance to experience the wonders of buggery. Wow, that was the dodgiest thing I've ever said on the radio, ever. Wow. I'm actually astounded at myself. If I hadn't thought that one through beforehand, I would be genuinely embarrassed. Anyway. So. Back to the Anchorage war effort. Now, I've got a couple of comments on this from people as part of work as intended. Yes, indeed, folks. It's working. Yeah, it's working. It's working as intended, baby. If you weren't more disturbed by the buggery comment, you certainly will be now. Anyway, yeah. Anchorage war effort. I had a couple of comments on that before I go on. Has been sent to my email address, themurloc@gmail.com, folks. Email that with any comments you have on Anchor. Oh, good lord, there's more than I thought. Oh, well. Right. Shout-outs will be done later before you say anything. Right, Jonas Johansson said this. I think you had a good point in your saying they should sort that out. Low-pop servers will never get the chance, and it would be unfair if they just opened the gates for the low-pop servers. So why not balance the scales and just make it plain fair? Typed by a drunken dwarf. Yeah, I can understand. Okay, Will thinks that the event is great so far. He says they just wish they would fix the damn servers. On my server, we killed the Broodlord and farmed 36,000 rep. After that, there's just a little cutscene where you witness the end of the first war in Anchorage. What happens? The server crashes. Yeah, I've actually heard about that. The server crashing with the event. Yipes. Not a good thing. Right, world event. James Sperry says, it looks pretty good, but it does look to me as though there isn't much for low-level players. However, I haven't looked at it much. I did look at the skinning quest, but I don't have high enough skinning skill. Maybe if they had more for my sort, level 27 and lower, but required more resources, say light leather and medium leather, then I'd be interested. But to be honest, it doesn't look like as much for me, so I think they should have included more for those of us who aren't of such a high level. Right, I mean, this is something I was actually going to get onto later. I've got a whole segment planned on this particular area of the topic, but what I will say on this particular subject is that yeah, it's a world event aimed at higher level players, but then again, so's the instance. It's not a world event in the same way that the Christmas and the Halloween stuff is, or the whole orphan thing that could be done by any levels. It's a world event specifically for opening up a level 60 high-end instance, which a level 27 has no business being anywhere near anyway. Now, I think what this post and this email actually highlights, to be honest, is the complete lack of world events in the first place. Because whenever there is a world event, everyone expects to get something from it because there are so few. If there were more world events in the first place, then perhaps we wouldn't have this kind of problem, where people would be saying, well, what's in it for me? You know, we could have higher level events, we could have lower level events, and let's be quite frank, the amount of lower level content put in the game recently has been atrocious. Complete lack. Now, whether that's justifiable in the way that there was low-level content in there already, I don't know, but I'm straying from the topic. The fact of the matter is that I reckon, this is my personal opinion, if there were more world events, then we'd have less of these concerns. You know, why isn't there anything in this world event for me? It's just that there's so few of them that people all expect something from it, whereas this world event is aimed at higher level people. Why? Because the event itself is designed to unlock a high level instance. Now, you can get treats from it, you can get nice loot, you know, you get greens from it, you can get sacks of goodies, you can get rep. But, generally speaking, it's for high levels. Now, I'm going to return to that topic in a moment, but I've got some more working as intended emails to read out first. Yevon324 says this: on my server, the Maelstrom EU, the war effort has made it so that people that were normally whoring up battlegrounds are now farming runecloth, leather bars, etc. This has mixed effects, namely that by doing so, the people that sit at level times 9 for Warsong Gulch and AB are no longer there and are busy elsewhere. This allows more people that play it for enjoyment, or just a nice change, to do so and not be mobbed by masses of level X9s. Yeah, I know the feeling. You go into, say, a level 20 battleground, it's full of level 29s because of the people who hover around that level for easy honour. However, it also means that prices of things on the AH have skyrocketed. The price of a stack of 20 living is now comfortable sale for buyout 1 gold, 20 silver. Runecloth is up to 5 gold buyout also, and so on, throughout the various needed materials for the war effort. This, however, means that all new players have to pay greater amounts of cash for items, and even if they would normally win with a bid instead of a buyout, there's always someone that's just bought money that will buy out the item and use it to grind their great Tiger Ram horse. One point I would make on that is that you've also got to bear in mind it's also a good way for lower level players to make some money. Let's face it, 1 gold, 20 silver for a stack of linen. You can get linen at level 10. How good is that for equipping your lower level character? Now, maybe that's irrelevant to a lot of people because they twink their characters, they send them gold from their main, but for newer players, that's actually a good thing. And the last point Yevon makes, that also leads to another point. If there was a way to view the number of people buying gold on WoW, I can guarantee that numbers will have increased dramatically since the patch. Possibly. Now, the argument for buying gold is that the less reasons there are for spending gold, the less reasons there are for buying it. Now, if you're effectively going to give them a better way to get a cross-faction epic, then yeah, people will buy gold. There are some people who will go out and they will buy the gold for that purpose. And if there are 50 bazillion ways of doing it, which there are right now because of the war effort, then you're going to get more people doing it. Whereas some people otherwise might think, oh, well, grinding runecloth, buying the runecloth is difficult, I won't do that. Okay, character name Obi-Wan, and his server is Nathrazim, and he's saying this: what they should have done is to combine the resources from lower population servers so they have an even amount of people working on it. So why not combine all resources from all servers? I guess this is one condition where queue times are good. Besides, from what I've been told and what I've seen on test server, the non-hardcore guilds can't do Anchorage. I don't see why they couldn't put a 5 or 10 man Anchorage instance in. Can you give a shout out to yourself? No idea why. I don't do shout outs to myself, it's egotistical. I say my name often enough anyway. Right. That's an interesting point, actually. Why not combine all resources from all servers, right? This is why I think they haven't done that. Blizzard likes to encourage cross-server competition. Why? Because it gives people a reason to play the game. It's in their best interest to encourage this kind of thing, which is why new instances are brought out. It's not just for enjoyment. It's because people go in the instances to be the first. You know, the first guys to down Nefarian. People push for this kind of thing. And that's a section of the player base, the hardcore players. Now, people can make up as many percentages and statistics as they like. They can pull them out of their arse and say, well, only 20% of people are, blah, blah, blah. One, you don't know that. Two, they're still a part of the player base. And those are the people who are driving the game forward. Let's face it, if the entire game was full of, quote, casuals who didn't push this content, you know, didn't push the envelope, then there would be no point in putting this new content in the first place, because people would be like, well, nah, I don't care. Yeah, I'm a casual player, I get to play, you know, once every 2 weeks, blah, blah. Hardcore players are actually pushing the envelope, and where it might not be content that you actually want, at least it is pushing and getting new instance content into the game. But anyway, I digress. The point of the matter is, the reason you don't combine it is because you actually want some kind of a race going on. You have cross-server competition because it encourages people to do the event in the first place. If it was all combined, people would be lazy. It's like, well, I won't do it. There's another 5 million people who could be doing it for me instead. Whereas if it's on your server, it actually matters. And if your guild pushes, it actually makes a difference. Let's face it, 213 servers times 3 million? Let me get my calculator out because my mental arithmetic is really rather poor. Let's see. Right, 213 servers. Oh, Numlock's not on. 230 servers times by 3 million. That's... oh dear. Quite a few. 639 million. Is that 639 million? 639 million resources. Now, you are a drop in the pond in comparison to that. That's the reason you don't split it across, because people won't bother. The less of an impact people feel that they're making on the game, the less bothered they'll be. Which is in itself actually an argument against this whole event. Perhaps that is the reason people aren't taking part. I know I'm not taking part because my server will never get there. It's not because we're all lazy, it's because we just don't have enough people to do it. We won't get there, so there's no point in me wasting all these resources on it. Even a concerted effort from all the big guilds, we can't do it. It's physically impossible because there are not enough people to do it. And again, maybe that's the reason. That's the reason why people aren't doing it, because they feel like their efforts are a drop in the pond. Which is unfortunate in a way, to be honest. It really is. Then again, that's something that you have to consider when designing a world event that involves gathering resources. How do you encourage people to do it? Is the whole, I will give you goodies and rep thing enough? Some people don't care about that, especially not lower levels. Now, giving them a green, yeah, that's quite nice. But then again, they could farm for a green and they get experience in the process. Rep? Why does the level 20 care about rep? As long as they're honoured and get a 10% discount, they don't care because they get no other benefits from it. And they're not going to get a cross-faction epic at mount at level 20. It's that simple. An interesting puzzle. I want to hear more about your opinions on Anchorage. There's plenty more coming in. And I shall be reading a mood later. It has to be said, Gipper, please do not send me white text, because that's the background of my MIRC. I can't read it. Okay, it's time for a special surprise this week. Ask the Murloc has evolved, and I will see how many of you can spot why. Oh yes. I think it may, in fact, be time for the one and only, the deliciously evil
Ask the Murloc.
Enjoy.
Ask the Murloc.
Dear Murloc, could you tell me what the word grinding means? You can tell me about other WoW words too, but at least tell me about grinding.
Current fear and dread, foolish mortals, for it is I, the Murloc, come to do unspeakably awful things with a jar of strawberry jam and some angry bees. The language of WoW is a difficult one to master. To grind really means to beg for, so when someone says they're going to grind for cash, what they really mean is they're going to create a female night elf hut, strip it naked and have it dance in Ironforge while yelling, "Give gold plicks!" Other useful words and phrases in the WoW language include gold farming, which means to earn rewards honourably via questing, and ding, which is the slang term for a diseased pigeon. So to recap, a complete sentence in WoW language. I'm going to grind the gold farming ding, which translates roughly into I intend to beg naked for an honourable pigeon. Complex indeed. Haha.
Ask the Murloc.
Dear Murloc, is being killed by Alliance on the PvP server a big problem while questing? Will I be killed whenever I walk past someone higher level than me?
Oh, no, my dear. It's absolutely fine. Learn to play. You see, the idea that a PvP server is full of people that player kill is absurd. Made up by those despicable PvE care bears. Blech. PvP really stands for player killing via poetry, which means that all you're likely to receive while passing an angry-looking paladin is a badly written sonnet and a headache. Whether this is actually worse than ganking is debatable, but the Murloc is level 70 and cares not. Ha
Ask the Murloc.
Like, dear Murloc, I have a couple of totally awesome items in my inventory, and they all sew the word male next to them. So, like, what does this mean?
It means that you're most certainly, undeniably homosexual, you snivelling peon. I'm amazed that anyone can sound so incredibly ridiculous. Who could this terrible excuse for a voice possibly belong to? It says it belongs to a man called Leto. Leto, you despicably worthless pile of entrails. Remove yourself from my feature at once before I garrote you with your own intestine. Yes, the question. Any item with mail on it indicates that you must send it to the Murloc immediately, via mail. Failure to do so will result in account suspension. That is all. Now the rest of you, out before I release the hounds. Ha ha!